Hi, I've clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Wednesday, talking a little bit more about the total number of named storms I'm expecting for this hurricane season. Yesterday we talked a little bit about the track congregation. Today I'm going to mention a little bit more about my reasoning for the total number of storms. You know that the analog years I've been discussing over the last couple weeks and months have been second-year La Nina years coming out of strong La Ninas that either remained weak Niñas or reversed to neutral during the summers. And those years, my top four right now are 1955, 1989, 1999, and 2008. And those years had an average of about 13 named storms. 1955 had 12, 89 had 11, 99 had 12, and 2008 sticks out there with 16. So an average of about 13 named storms for those analog years, only slightly above average season. My reasoning this year for having a slightly more than that, I'm thinking more 14 to 15 named storms, and the reason for that is what you're looking at here is the sea surface temperatures of 2011 March minus the Marches of the analog years. Notice we're a lot warmer than normal in the tropics with the water here, and this can be attributed to the very cold winter that we had over the eastern United States. And think about what this implies. It implies a net troughing in the east, and if you get a net trough in the east, then you're lowering pressures out here in the western Atlantic, which is allowing the trade winds to be weaker to the south of it, which doesn't cool the water as much down in the tropics, and you allow it to be a lot warmer. We didn't lose nearly the amount of heat content in this area of the Atlantic than we usually do when there's lots of ridging over the southeast U.S. as there is in a typical La Nina. You get the trade winds racing around it out of the east, and you generally cool the waters down here a lot, and they're forced to recover during the season. We didn't get that a lot this winter, and so the water is a lot warmer than most of the analog years, and this extra heat available I think is going to contribute to a little bit more in the way of storms and ACE this year than some of the analogs might imply. Also notice all the cold water up here to the north in the subtropics, and this is again something that helps intensify activity if this kind of a pattern can hold into the season, because the cold water up here means net sinking air, and warmer water down here means rising air. And again, this sometimes to people seems like a baroclinic thing, where you get this temperature gradient between cold to the north and warm to the south, and some people are like, well, hurricanes aren't driven by baroclinic instability. But that's not what this is, because the hurricanes don't tend to form along this boundary between warm and cool like a baroclinic low would. They form within the warmth down here. All this is sinking air up here intensifying the Hadley circulation cell, so you get more rising air here, more sinking air here. All that does is intensify the cycle where the air is rising in the equatorial regions and sinking in the subtropics, and therefore you get net upward motion over warm water here, and you just intensify the mechanisms that allow tropical cyclones to form. And if we look at the summer temperatures over the United States for these analog years, again, notice the warmth across the north, implying the net blocking up here in southeast Canada, Hudson Bay, northeast United States, cooler down in the plains, implying more than normal precipitation, because the blocking up here allows low pressure and convergence and storms to form to the southeast United States, and they come in and they make it wetter and cooler down in the south, and it's a generally conducive pattern for landfalls in general. We definitely had a lot of landfalls in 1955, 1999, and 2008 all had a lot. 1989 had three, two of them not a big deal, but there was one major, Hurricane Hugo, that came into South Carolina. And I've showed you these before, how the pattern favors more activity aimed towards the U.S. coast this year. Less overall number, still active because we're in a warm AMO multi-decadal cycle, so 14 to 15 named storms is where I'm shooting for right now. We'll see if that has to be updated later, but for now that's what I'm looking at, and we'll continue to look at these analogs and find similarities and try to hone in on the details of this upcoming hurricane season. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.